It all began with a series of announcements that sent shockwaves across the globe. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, declared new tariffs on goods from other countries, particularly China. It was a bold move, a dramatic departure from decades of American trade policy. For years, the world had operated on a system of lowering trade barriers, not raising them. Suddenly, the rules of the game were being rewritten. Leaders in Beijing, Brussels, and beyond were caught by surprise. They had to quickly decide how to respond to this unexpected challenge from their most significant trading partner, a move that felt like a declaration of a new kind of economic conflict. The initial reaction was a mix of confusion and defiance. Was this just a negotiating tactic, or was it the start of a full-blown trade war? Many countries retaliated with their own tariffs on American products, from soybeans to motorcycles. International meetings became tense, with diplomats scrambling to understand the new American position. The global supply chains, intricate webs that connect factories and consumers across continents, were suddenly thrown into disarray. The world held its breath, wondering if the era of global cooperation that had defined the post-war period was coming to an end, replaced by a new age of economic nationalism where every country would fend for itself. This wasn't just a story for economists and politicians. It was a story that would soon affect households everywhere. The tariffs were like a new tax, and someone would have to pay the price. The goal, as stated by the Trump administration, was to protect American jobs and industries from what they saw as unfair trade practices. They argued that for too long, other nations had taken advantage of open U.S. markets while closing their own. The tariffs were designed to be a powerful tool to force a renegotiation of the terms of global trade, a way to level the playing field for American workers and companies who felt left behind. The world was now at a crossroads. The system of international trade, built carefully over 70 years, was facing its most significant test. The president's actions were a direct challenge to the established order, a gamble that by disrupting the status quo, a better, fairer deal could be forged for the United States. This move ignited a global debate about the future of trade, fairness, and economic power. It forced every nation to re-examine its alliances and its strategies in a rapidly changing world, setting the stage for a period of uncertainty, but also, perhaps, an opportunity for profound and necessary change. A trade war is not fought on a distant battlefield. Its consequences are felt in our local stores and in our own homes. When tariffs are placed on imported goods, like steel or electronics, it makes those items more expensive for companies to buy. Businesses that rely on these materials, from car manufacturers to home builders, face higher costs. They often have no choice but to pass those costs on to consumers. Suddenly, the price of a new car, a washing machine, or even a can of soda can start to creep up. This is the most direct impact of a trade war. It makes everyday life more expensive for ordinary people. Beyond rising prices, trade wars create a powerful and damaging sense of uncertainty. Imagine you run a small business that exports fruit to another country. If that country suddenly imposes a retaliatory tariff on your products, your business could be in jeopardy overnight. Farmers might be left with crops they cannot sell, and factory owners might have to lay off workers because their overseas orders have vanished. This instability makes it difficult for businesses to plan for the future, to invest in new equipment, or to hire more people. Economic growth slows down when everyone is waiting to see what will happen next, creating a climate of fear. Let's think of it like a neighborhood game. Imagine one person decides they are tired of trading their homemade bread for their neighbor's jam because they feel it's an unfair deal. So they stop the trade. In response, the jam maker stops trading with the gardener, and the gardener stops trading with the baker. Soon, the entire neighborhood's friendly system of exchange breaks down. Everyone ends up with less variety and is worse off than before. This is what happens on a global scale during a trade war. Countries put up walls, and the flow of goods and services that everyone benefits from is disrupted, leading to less choice and opportunity for all. This disruption hurts not only the big economies, but has a profound impact on developing nations as well. Many smaller countries depend on stable trade relationships with larger partners like the United States and China to grow their economies and lift their people out of poverty. When the giants of global trade are fighting, these smaller nations are often caught in the crossfire. Their access to critical markets can be threatened, undoing years of progress. The ripple effect of a trade war spreads far and wide, touching nearly every corner of the global economy and affecting the livelihoods of millions who have no say in the conflict. It is important to understand that the desire for change in the global trading system is not one-sided. For years, there has been a growing consensus across the political spectrum in the United States and in many other nations that the system is no longer working as it should. The rules were largely written after World War II, in a very different world. They were designed for an era dominated by Western economies trading familiar goods. Those rules were not built to handle the unique challenges of the 21st century, especially the meteoric rise of a state-controlled economy like China's, which plays by a different set of rules. The old system, overseen by organizations like the World Trade Organization, has struggled to keep up. It has been criticized for being too slow and ineffective at addressing modern problems like intellectual property theft, state subsidies for major industries, and digital trade. For example, when one country feels another is unfairly subsidizing its companies to sell goods at artificially low prices, resolving the dispute through official channels can take years. This slow pace has led to frustration and a feeling that the system is unable to enforce its own rules, prompting some leaders to feel they must take matters into their own hands. The entry of China into the global trading system in 2001 was a moment of great optimism. The hope was that by joining the international community, China would gradually become a more open, market-based economy. However, that transformation has not fully materialized in the way many had hoped. Instead, critics argue that China has leveraged the benefits of the open trading system to become an economic powerhouse, while maintaining practices that give its companies an unfair advantage. This has created an imbalance that many countries, not just the United States, believe needs to be addressed for the sake of fair competition. Therefore, the recent turmoil is not just about one leader's decisions. It reflects a deeper, more widespread demand for reform. The challenge is that while many agree the system is broken, there is no clear agreement on how to fix it. The chaos created by the trade war has forced this conversation into the open. It has made it impossible to ignore the cracks in the foundation of global trade. The key question now is whether this disruption will lead to collapse or serve as the painful but necessary catalyst for building a new, more resilient system that reflects the realities of today's interconnected world. While the period of disruption has been unsettling, it has also created a rare opportunity to rebuild. The United States, despite the controversies, remains a central player on the world stage. Its economic and strategic power means that most nations would still prefer to work with America to establish new rules rather than align with other powers. This provides a powerful foundation for leadership. The current challenge is an invitation for the United States to work with its allies, countries in Europe, Asia, and the Americas, to forge a unified vision for what a fair and modern trading system should look like in the 21st century. The path forward requires creating clear, updated rules that everyone can agree upon. This means addressing the issues that the old system failed to manage, such as protecting digital services, ensuring the security of supply chains, and establishing fair competition with state-owned enterprises. Instead of a free-for-all where every country acts alone, this is a moment to build stronger alliances. By working together, democratic nations can set new, high standards for trade that promote transparency, protect workers' rights, and reward innovation. This cooperative approach can create a powerful bloc that encourages others to adopt these fairer practices. This is not a return to the past. The goal is not to simply restore the old, flawed system, but to create something better and more durable. A new framework could maintain the benefits of global trade, like lower prices and greater choice, while adding new safeguards to manage the risks. It would focus on cooperation with trusted partners while setting clear boundaries and consequences for those who violate the rules. This modernized system would be designed for a world where economic competition is intertwined with national security, ensuring that trade is not just free, but also secure and fair for everyone involved. Ultimately, there is great reason for optimism. History has shown that moments of international crisis can often precede periods of great cooperation and progress. The challenges are significant, but the shared desire for a stable, prosperous world is a powerful motivator. By choosing collaboration over conflict, nations can work together to mend the fractures in the global order. They can build a trading system that is more equitable, more resilient, and better equipped to handle the challenges of the future. This is the hopeful path forward, one where shared rules and mutual respect lead to a more peaceful and prosperous world for all.